first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKakodash. Yahweh to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashem means in the name, Rakab means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also, give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. I'm going to go into this video real quick and just pull out the scriptures.
San Francisco, near the Golden Gate kind of area and the Bay Area there, in that area somewhere, one hit there. Then I saw another one hit near Seattle, Washington. And when I saw these missiles hit, I woke up and I laughed and I said, what a crazy dream. And then I fell asleep and I dreamed it a second time, the exact same scenario. These missiles hitting the same cities, all launched from the sea. And then what I saw after that happened, the Lord spoke to me in the dream and he said, do you think this is a joke? Well, it's not. America will be judged. America will burn. And he said, now get up and write this down. So I got up and I wrote it down. And then I fell asleep and I dreamed it a third time. And then I also dreamed about seeing a gravestone of America, and it was the Twin Towers on fire, and America was saying, on this gravestone, it was saying obscene things like "we be bad" and stuff like that. America was dead. And then I had a dream about seeing the grave cut without stone, without hands, right? It was made like a machine. It cut this grave. It was next to a huge oak tree. The sun had gone down, and there was just that afterlight. And then in this grave was a wooden coffin, and it was stained. It was a beautiful wooden coffin, and she's a grand old flag. She's a high one. That one, and talks about an old lady in there, and this coffin was there, and there were fall leaves in it, and the voice of the Lord told me to get down in there and he told me to get in. So I got into the grave, and a woman's scarf blew into my left hand. I made a video about this, and it was a fall-colored scarf with browns and oranges and yellows. And the Lord told me to tuck that scarf around the head of the coffin, and so I did. And then a book of matches blew into my left hand, stick matches, and he said, "Now light it." So I struck one match, and the wind blew it out. The smoke came off of it. And I struck a second match, and the wind blew it out. And then the Lord spoke to me in the dream, and he said, "Now cup the match with your hand," in the book, and a box of matches. So I struck it, and I cupped it, and I lit it, and he said, "Light it on the left-hand side." So I lit it on the left-hand side, in the middle, then the right-hand side, and it began to burn. And the Lord spoke to me and said, "America has been judged, and America will burn." So brothers and sisters, this is serious. He just told me again this morning, a little while ago, to tell you guys that he is coming soon, and that America is about to be judged. America is about to fall. This country is about to be taken down. That's another thing that's coming.
Right, and that guy was 100% on point. The Lord is pouring out the Spirit upon all men, all people, not just Israelites, to see the end. But one thing these people don't realize is that the prophets are out here, going into these things daily, going to the highways and byways and prophesying it, showing you where it's at in the scriptures. So I started at Joel chapter 2 and verse 28. It says, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit." And that's exactly what we just heard. This was a vision, this man had. And the reason you know it was a vision is because everything he said can be backed by prophecy. There's a scripture for every single thing he said. Right, one of the first points he said is that he saw a Russia, attacking America. Well, when you go into Ezekiel the 38th chapter, it talks about it. Right? It talks about the prophecy about Gog and future invasion of Israel. Now, when you go into Gog and the land of Magog, okay, it ultimately deals with Russia, okay? Modern interpretations often suggest it refers to Russia or a coalition of nations from the north of Israel. And that's as simple as it gets, right? You go into the ancient landmass of where Gog, the land of Magog, was, and it's where Russia would be today. Okay, Kazakhstan, Russia. And that's what it's talking about. It is Russia will eventually come against Israel and destroy those small hatters. Now, I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, "And say, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia and Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet." Right? So the Lord is going to bring back Russia to that primitive war mentality. He's going to make them go to war. Persia, which Iran, before it was called Iran, was called Persia, right? So talking about Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya. It says, "Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the north quarter and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." Right? So Russia is going to be the face, okay, of this third world war. They're going to be the guard. It says, "And after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations. They shall dwell safely, all of them." Right, so they're going to come against those people with small little hats. "Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm, thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus saith Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates." Right, so while they're destroying the land of Israel, they're going to have an evil thought to go into the land of unwalled villages, which is talking about America. Okay, the reason it's called the land of unwalled villages is because you got all these states, aka villages, but there's no actual walls, right? It's just imaginary. And that's exactly what he just saw. So when he goes into the thermonuclear destruction, you can read about that in Revelation chapter 8 and verse 17. It says, "For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate." Right, so this place is going to be destroyed by fire in 1 hour. Okay, and it's going to be by thermonuclear destruction. Now, a scripture that talks about that is Zechariah chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." Right, and that's going into a being eviscerated by those nukes. You're going to be standing on your feet, and you're going to consume away. Okay, that fire is going to burn, okay, the wicked on the spot. Just like that movie Terminator, with Sarah Connor, she was holding onto the fence, and right there, she got it just wiped away. That's what's coming, and you can literally read it right here. So, one more scripture going into how this place, it is written that this place will go down. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 6, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for it is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her our recompense." Right, so the Lord is against this place, and it will fall. So, quick video, straight to the point. Hopefully this was edifying. With that, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakodash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Mills that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.